Hi, hello, welcome. Take a seat. No pushing, sir. Be quiet. Whatever it is, probably number 7. Is it 7? 8? Not sure. You're listening to Freaked Out Podcast, and my name is Fabian, and I will be your host for today. Today we are gonna be talking about oldest by age, serial killer in the world, probably, and the first serial killer from Yugoslavia, or from Serbia. You guessed it, we are talking about Baba Anujka. If you never heard of Baba Anujka before, that is because you're listening to Freaked Out Podcast, a podcast that presents you less known cases from all around the world. Yay! So who was Baba Anujka? Baba Anujka basically translates as grandma. Baba is grandma, and Anujka is her nickname from Anna. Her name was Anna di Pistonia. She was born as Anna Drakshin or Draken, and that is Americanized pronunciation. In Serbian, we would read that as Anna Drakshin or Drakin. And she was one of the most known serial killers of ex-Yugoslavia. It is supposed that she murdered more than 100 people in the late 19th and early 20th century. Anna, or Anujka, let's call her Anna, it's easier. She was born in Romania, actually, but is uncertain when. Some sources say in 1838, she claimed that she was born in 1936, but it's certain that she was born in Romania and that later she moved with her family to Serbia, or to a village that's called Peter's village. Today, that village is known as Vladimirovac. And back in the days, that village was not actually part of Serbia or Yugoslavia yet. It was still under Austrian Empire. And her father was a rich landlord, and she attended a private school in Pančevo, a town next to Belgrade, very, very close to Belgrade. And she attended the private school where all the rich kids went. She was bougie, rich bitch. Why do I even say that? So when she was 20, she was seduced by Austrian officer, and she sadly contracted syphilis from him before he dumped her. And she claimed that was the moment she became misanthropist. And misanthropist is a person who dislikes humankind and avoids human society. And that would be me. In the last podcast, when I said that I was a social, a lot of people were like, what the hell is a social? You mean antisocial? Well, a social is in between antisocial and you have social, then you have asocial, then you have antisocial. And so I'm kind of there in the asocial area where I just don't like people. I don't like hanging out with people. I don't enjoy hanging out with people. I don't enjoy interacting with people. I just want everyone to leave me alone. But I don't hate them and just don't like them. And I also gave myself a nickname in the previous podcast. And you know how there is a person who likes talking to people and going out, and they are social butterflies. Opposite of that, I am a social moth. So, yeah. Anyway, Anna was very smart. She spoke 5 languages, and she had interests in medicine. And she was a woman. How dare she? In that time, in Serbia. She later married a landowner who was named Pisto, or the other version is the Pistonia, where her surname comes from. And that guy was 20 years older than her. And they were apparently very happy in their marriage because they had 11 children. 11 children. And more importantly, only one of them survived to adulthood. Those were some rough times, I guess. Her husband was much older than her, and he died after 20 years of marriage. And after he died, Anna's love and interests for chemistry blossomed. She continued to study. She even transformed one of the wings of her house into a laboratory. She was very known because of her knowledge of chemistry, and she was known as a healer and herbalist. Everyone asked her for help, like she was the main healer in the village. So everyone asked for help, from wives whose husbands were not feeling too well, to young men who were asking for a potion which would make them contemporarily sick, so they would not go to war. Besides the secret lab, she also had a kafana. And if you are familiar, again, with Serbian culture, you know what kafana is. That is a restaurant, but like oldish restaurant with live music, and especially in those times, the kafana was the main, like a club for people. The only place where people would come to drink and to celebrate, and so she had a kafana. And through that business, she was in contact with a lot of people, including all of her users. But although she was known as a healer, we are not here because she healed people. We are here because she actually killed people. And she killed from 50 to 150 people with her concoctions. This story sounds a lot like Aqua Tofana and Julia Tofana. Anna's potion was called Magical Water or simply Love Potion. She even had a secret code, a safe word, when the customers came. So when the customers came, she would ask them, quote unquote, how heavy or how big is this problem? And the meaning of that was how many kilograms or pounds did the victim had. And when she got that information, she would instantly know the exact measure of arsenic she would mix into her potion. Then she'd said that the victim will die in exactly 8 days if the concoction is given to them every day. She would even give them full instructions on how to mix the potion into the food. Basically, pretty similar story to Julia Tofana. It is not known if her customers knew she was using arsenic, though, because she would claim to them that she uses magic and spells for her potions. And they believed her, since the people who they gave the potion to actually died on the 8th day precisely, as she claimed. And she also had a helper, an intern, one might say, and her name was Ljubinka Milanko. Ljubinka was actually Anna's student, and she shared a passion of healing and killing. Sorry. Ljubinka worked as her assistant besides few other girls. Her job was to get the customers to Anna and to check their stories beforehand. And as a team, they worked together for over 40 years. 40 years. Until Ljubinka make a mistake. Stupid bitch! How can you be so stupid? For 40 years. Well, let's start from the beginning to an end. Anna, or how was she known, Baba Anujka, was reported to the police several times, but they never thought anything was wrong since she was well known and she was well respected, and she was basically just an old lady who was helping people with her potions. The first time she was arrested and interrogated was when the second man from the family of Anujka's client Stana Momiro died by unexplainable causes. Stana Momiro was a client of Anna's who used her potion to kill her first husband, Lazar Ludoshki. Then she remarried and she decided to kill again. Why not? Her next victim was actually not her new husband, as we all supposed probably, but her husband's uncle, who was rich and well-known guy in this area. She was stupid. She was stupid as fuck. When the police couldn't find any cause of death, the investigation turned in Anna's direction, but with the lack of evidence, they released her. Her next customers who reported her to the police were the other family named also Momiro, and here we have two of them, Sofia and Sima Momiro, who wanted to kill Sima's father, Nikola, because he had a drinking problem and he was abusive to them and to their children. Fair, but also you could call the police or just move the fuck out, but again, 19th century, early 20th in Serbia, well, everyone lived in the same house. You could not just move out, so that was really stupid of me saying. And I think that they really did not know that she was using poison, because in the interview, we have the photo of, like, the excerpt of the interview that was released to the newspaper back in the day. We have a little small piece of that on Google. You can find that. And in that interview, Sophia claimed that she went to Anna's house and she asked for a magical water that would heal her father-in-law from drinking. She also mentioned that she asked Anna if she was using poison and that she got mad because of that question, saying, "I don't give poison, I use magic for my water. He will either heal up or jump into the wheel. 100 doctors can come and search and they won't find poison in my water. It's not poison, it's magic." End quote. I'm sorry, why we would jump into the wheel? So Sophia handed the poison to 16-year-old Olga Sturza, which was Nicola's granddaughter. Who is Nicola? I'm sorry, I'm so lost in this. Is the Nicola? Yes, the Nicola is guy they tried to kill. So, Sophia, daughter-in-law of Nicola, handed the poison to 16-year-old Olga, who was Nicola's granddaughter, and she ordered her to ensure that Nicola drinks it. And Nicola drank the potion, he fell ill, and he died after 15 days. But the final case that had the police arrest Anna was the murder of Guya Proken. He was perfectly healthy 60-year-old man. His wife died a few years ago and he promised his whole life savings to his sons and a lot of land to his sister's son Milan and his wife. Now, he had a lot of money and a lot of land since he was working his whole life in the US. And his son and wife became impatient, basically, and they wanted that land so bad they could not wait for him to die, so they decided to kill him. And this time, for unknown reasons, Lyubinka, Anna's assistant, she was making the potion. This dumbass made it too weak. So the agony of Guya lasted for days. And eventually Guya went to doctor, but in the end he died. And then the doctor decided to give him to work on, to give him autopsy. And the autopsy report found that he was poisoned because they found fucking arson in his system, and Anna was finally arrested. Her trial began in 1928 when she was 90 years old, and the trials were held in Bela Crkva. Bela Crkva is like a small village in Vojvodina, and that's part of Serbia, the north part of Serbia. And I really love that town. I would like to go back because there are several lakes, man-made and also natural lakes in Bela Crkva. Me and my mom would go to a vacation there since I was, 5 years old we went almost 10 years there. And I was not there since 2009, I think it was. Very long time ago. And I would really love to go back. It's not that far away. I don't know why I'm still not visited that place. But it's a really nice place. It's like really old architecture. And sorry, I'm derailing a lot. But that town is really pretty. It has phenomenal architecture. It's like everyone lives in houses. There's no tall buildings and, much modern stuff there. You can find pictures online. Just type in BELA and then space and then CRKVA. It's a really nice place. And everyone lives in those authentical Austrian-like houses from 19th century. It's a really magical place. So anyway, Anna was 90 years old when she was arrested, and the trials were held in Bela Crkva. Several bodies of her victims were excavated, and they found the high doses of arsenic and mercury in them. But a lot of families declined the excavation just because to not get caught themselves. Her ex-assistants decided to testify against her because they wanted a lesser sentence. And later trials were held also in Pančevo and even in Belgrade. The trial continued when results were available from chemical testings of samples found in Anna's home, at which time the prosecutor and defense attorneys gave closing statements. The prosecutor demanded the death penalty for all defendants except Olga, who was a minor at the time of the murder and for whom she demanded a prison sentence. Olga was the granddaughter of Nikolai, if we forgot. I forgot. Take a minute to remember who the fuck is Olga. Sofia and Sima Momiro defended themselves at the trial. They claimed that they did not know that the magic water contained poison. They believed that it was just water and that came as a result of Anna's supernatural powers. Sure. During the trial, Anna consistently denied charges, claiming that she never sold any magic water and that the whole case against her was fabricated by Ljubinka Milano, who wanted to blame Anna for her own crimes. Olga defended herself, claiming that she was still a child at the time of the murder and that she was not aware that the water would kill her grandfather. But Sofia testified that Olga was well aware of the whole plot. Anna was officially convicted for only 2 murders, and those of Lazar Ludoshki and Nicola Momiro. The verdict was delivered on July 6, 1929. Anna was sentenced to 15 years in prison for the role of accomplice in both murders. Stana and Sofia Momiro were sentenced to life in prison as the main perpetrators. Sima Momiro was sentenced to 15 years and Ljubinka Milano to 8 years. Olga was acquitted. Both the prosecutor and defenders appealed the verdict to the appellate court in Novi Sad, and that trial took place on 29th and 30th of November 1929. The prosecutor demanded capital punishment for all defendants. After some cross-examination, Sima and Sofia Momiro admitted that they knew about the poison from the start, but all defendants stood by their previous statements otherwise. The verdict was delivered on November 30th, 1929. Anna was resentenced to 15 years in prison with hard labor, and Stana and Sofia Momiro were resentenced to life in prison. Sima Momiro's sentence was increased from 15 years to life, and Ljubinka Milano's sentence was increased from 8 to 10 years. Olga was once again acquitted. Anna was jailed up in the women prison in Pozherovets, but she served only 8 years, and then she was released at the age of 98 because she was too old to be in prison. What the fuck? She also lived 2 more years, and she died in her house in Vladimirovets in her 100th year of life. Although there is another version that claims that she lived 104 years and that she was released from prison by German soldiers when Second World War started. And that's that, my friends. That is the end of this wild story about the oldest serial killer in the world and the first serial killer in Serbia. If you want to listen to other episodes, you can follow us anywhere. We are on Spotify, on Apple, on Chromecast, on Google Podcasts, like literally everywhere you can listen to podcasts. We are also on YouTube. There is no video version of the episode, but you can listen to regular episodes there. And that is that. Thank you so much for being here. And that's that. Bye. Don't drink suspicious waters. Bye.